I'm Michael Kofi Adzah, a contemporary artist from Ghana, and a member of the Blaster Line Collective from Kumasi. I'm currently having an exchange program with the Art Academy in Karlsruhe, Germany. My art have been exploring the idea of ritual archives, which are practices, performances, text, images that help us understand the African ways of thinking and knowing, and the understanding between how the physical world interacts with the spiritual world, and how we get to know the origin of the universe. Yeah, that's what I explore in my work. So my works mostly draw inspiration from myths, practices from mostly from Ghana, and also from my hometown of in the Volta region. And also I'm also interested in how cultural forms, cultural languages or ceremonial rituals are reinterpreted in this internet age, and how that mean for what we call authenticity. Yeah. So this exhibition is ritual archives and strange, putting a body of work that I produced in my stay in Karlsruhe for my exchange program with the Art Academy. And this body of works are mostly influenced by the interaction with spaces around, from riding bicycles within the city, and also in trams, how the tram movie, how the landscape move with the tram. Yeah, so my experiences with this landscape also play like crucial role in the work that are in the show. Yeah, and for the show also we've been thinking about how how we can reconnect our disrupted African artistic lineage that has been disrupted by colonial histories. I think coming to a country where everything is different, from the food, language, the weather, got me thinking how, and all of a sudden that these things become familiar. So also sparked my interest into the use of the ancestral memory more. How do I work with things that are unfamiliar with me, unfamiliar to me, but also familiar in a sense. Yeah. So also there's this belief that we inherit the memories of our ancestors through birth, and they are suppressed in our subconscious mind. So I also personally believe that from the use of the intuition in my painting process, in the process of working, I'm evoking these memories through my work. And sometimes what comes out are unfamiliar stuff, things that I'm not really sure what they are. Mostly with the digital paintings that are on view in the exhibitions are figures or forms that are emerging out of my intuitive drawings. So the experimentation with color, experimentation with form, shapes, it makes things that I don't know what they are. Sometimes they look familiar, they are not entirely. Yeah. So that's also interesting because to me, I don't really fully understand my works in a way. Every day I'm learning from my work as the artist too. But that it's also helping me to also pay attention to the direction the work is taking me, other than me imposing how I want the work to become. Yeah. My works are mostly inspired by myths or practices from my local communities, and also sometimes childhood memories. Yeah, so I try to retell these stories through my paintings or my other forms that I work with. Yeah, but also the works are not limited to the stories that inspire them, but also take hold of what they ought to maybe occupy some spaces in themselves. Yeah. So I also love to engage with the works with the work itself, not the divide of the stories that inspire them. Yeah. So I'm also interested in the viewers also have open interaction or open interpretation with the work, not knowing the stories that inspire them. How could they also compose their own narrative that will also fit into the painting that they are seeing? Yeah. African artistic lineage has been disrupted by colonial history, where most of the art forms are in museum vaults around the world. Most of them are not even on display for the artists to engage with. So my practice I also engage with or reimagine how it will be like if the African artists have access to these forms. How would they inform their practice, or how would they inform the way they think, or even the technique or the process of working? Yeah. So in the absence of the object, what I tend to do is rely heavily on my ancestral memory. So working intuitively is what I believe is also uh, bridges that disruption. So that for me serves as a bridge between the void created with the history of colonialism, with the absence of those artifacts now. So my use of the intuition now become crucial in how also engage with the lost artistic language. So yeah, that for me is reassessing my ancestral memories, but hoping that they will inform the work I produce now. Yeah. Yeah, I think the use of the ancestral memory personally means I'm alive. I'm able to continue my lineage, also allowing my ancestors to be part of my work, or to be part of the process I'm using to create my work. Yeah. So that I believe the ancestors, like, they have knowledge, or they have like things that they feel to directly transfer to us. So these are like suppressing their memory when they die. So I also believe like we come like as a descendant of them, we also inherit some of this memory. So assessing the ancestral memory is a way that I'm able to source these techniques or this craftsmanship that we're not able to be transferred to us like orally or in whatever way. I'm able to access some of those things. They're able to allow them to allow them to shape the way I work, the way I also think about my work, the way I also engage with cultural forms, one way or the other. Yeah. Yeah, I think for me that reminds me of Buster Lines. I think exposing something to someone, or exposing someone to something. So for me, it's exposing the work to the audience, but also exposing the audience to the works. And so through their engagement with the works, they'll get to know maybe other cultural forms that exist apart from theirs. Though they are aware that there are obviously other cultural forms, they might not know the exact cultural forms. Yeah. And also, yeah, for me to also learn how other people engage with my work. How do I take from it? How does it also shape my work going forward? I also allow my work to be open to interpretation. Like, I don't limit them to my or the stories or the myths that inspire them. Also want the audience to have personal connection to the work. They have something familiar they see in it. So the entirety of the work could be unfamiliar, but maybe there's some specific thing that they feel like connects to them or individually. Yeah. So for me, it's re-education. Start from re-education. How do I engage with cultural forms from a standpoint of epistemic democracy, where we see the cultural form as equal to any other practices elsewhere in the world, and try to understand what it means to have these practices and what we can learn from them. Yeah. That's the core of my work, epistemic democracy. To also maybe renegotiate how the violence these cultural forms suffered, how they could be liberated from some of these things, especially from we the natives of the cultural practices. Yeah.